The Audi Q3 Sportback is a small but not too small SUV that combines power, luxury and style. It competes against other European rivals like the BMW X2 and Mercedes-Benz GLA in a pretty close-knit segment. And in this video, we're going to see how this handles urban life. So keep watching to see what we've discovered. There are 4 variants for the Q3 before you get into the high performance model, and the vehicle on test here is the top S-Line 40 TFSI Quattro model. Its price point positions at almost $5,000 less than its nearest rival, which makes this Sportback pretty darn affordable if you're looking for a top-of-the-line luxury small SUV. As you would expect from a top model, the S-Line is well equipped and features powered and heated front seats, leather upholstery, and high-end technology throughout. Our test model has also been fitted with an upgraded Sonos 3D surround sound system and a sunroof, which adds $3,900 to the price tag. But the full specs are in my detailed written review at carsguide.com.au if you need more info. The Q3 Sportback blends the practicality of an SUV while still having a sports car vibe with its wide stance and coupe rear. The black accents, the 20-inch alloys and the big matrix LED headlights just accentuate this vibe. It's not a look at me car, but the longer you look, the better it gets. Holding similar dimensions to its rivals, the Q3 Sportback well and truly sits within the small SUV segment, but it feels quite purposeful and large once you stand next to it. The interior has a mix of leather upholstery, and the angular dash is headlined by a 10.1-inch touchscreen multimedia system, which looks really high-end. There's also enough luxy accents in here to earn the premium badge, but it is really understated when you compare it to its rivals, which all have a stronger cabin presence. It's nice, but it's probably not wowy. Access to the front row is really good because of the wide door apertures, and it's just an easy car to get in and out of. I like that you get heaps of head and legroom in this, but it's the comfort of the front seats which will win you over. They're really well padded, you get adjustable under thigh support and powered lumbar support, as well as a heat function, so super comfy. The steering wheel feels really nice and supple under your hands, and it might make me feel a bit old school, but I love a traditional gear shifter. It makes you feel like you're in a real car. Also, just everything's within easy reach for the driver in this cockpit, which is great. Individual storage is good with a decently sized glove box, middle console and phone cubby. You get the usual drink bottle holders and cup holders as well, but I would have liked a few extra cubbies for smaller items just to keep the cabin feeling quite neat. The touchscreen multimedia system is pretty easy to use once you get your head around all the menus and options available. You get excellent sat-nav in this, and I like that the 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster pulls through the directions as well. This model gets wireless Apple CarPlay and wide Android Auto, and I had no trouble keeping connected to the CarPlay this week. The charging options up front also really good with 2 USB-C ports, a 12-volt socket and a wireless charging pad. Access to the back row is almost as good as the front because of the wide door apertures. Head and legroom might be a problem if you're quite tall. I have plenty of room behind my driving position, but I'm only 168 centimeters tall. The comfort of the seats are really good, but legroom is compromised for middle seaters because of the high transmission tunnel. So it's best to think of this as a 4-seater most of the time. Amenities and storage are good for the class with 2 map pockets and 2 cup holders. You also get directional air vents, 2 USB-C ports, a 12-volt socket, and reading lights as well. The boot of the Q3 Sportback offers plenty of capacity with 530 litres available. You can also up that storage capacity with the 40-20-40 split of the rear row, and there's heaps of really nice practical features in this boot, like a luggage net, which I found really handy when you only have 1 or 2 items in the back, a powered tailgate, and a temporary spare tyre. The only thing I really don't like is this hard plastic cargo cover. It just feels a bit cheap for the grade level. Our test vehicle is an all-wheel drive with a 7-speed automatic transmission coupled with a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo-petrol engine that produces 132 kilowatts of power and 320 newton-meters of torque. Compared to its rivals, it does have lower outputs and a slower sprint time of 7.8 seconds. However, it's not a car I would ever have the audacity to call slow. Despite not being as powerful as its rivals, you don't actually feel like you're missing out with this model. Power delivery is effortless, and you really do feel like you're not dipping too far into the well of power either when you have to overtake or keep up to speed. So it still feels sprightly, just probably not as sporty or as fun as the rivals. The low and wide stance of this model means that you can take corners almost at speed. The handling and steering is in that Goldilocks zone for me in terms of firmness. The suspension is quite hard, but other than that, you get excellent road feedback from it and still pretty comfortable when you hit bumps, even on a regional road. The only real downside, I guess you'd call it, is that the wind noise and road noise is pretty high no matter what speed you're going at. You would expect it from the low and wide profile wheels, but I would expect slightly higher refinement for this grade level. So overall, the driving experience is not what I would call sporty. It's definitely elegant, and it's the sort of SUV that you get if you're looking for great performance, but you're not in the middle of a midlife crisis. The Q3 isn't difficult to park, but you do have to take a moment to get used to the dimensions because it's actually a bit larger than what you might think, and you do fill out a car space far more than what you would expect to. That being said, the 360-degree view camera system is excellent, and you get front and rear parking sensors in this. The official combined fuel cycle figure is 8.2 litres per 100 kilometres. My real world usage came out at 8.6 litres after doing some open roading, but mostly urban driving this week. And for such a powerful car, that's a pretty good result for urban dwelling. Based on the official combined fuel cycle figure and the 60-litre fuel tank, you should see a theoretical driving range of up to 732 kilometres, which is respectable if you ever need to do a longer road trip. The Q3 has a maximum 5-star ANCAP safety rating from testing done in 2018, but it only features 6 airbags, which is pretty darn low for this day and age. However, the rest of the safety features list is pretty robust and not intrusive for daily driving, which I always appreciate. But the full specs are in my detailed written review at carsguide.com.au if you need more info. Audi offers the Q3 with a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which is a usual term for the class. You can pre-purchase 3 or 5-year cap price servicing program, and on the 5-year plan, services average just $666, which is quite competitive. Servicing intervals are also quite good at every 12 months or 15,000 kilometres, whichever occurs first. The Audi Q3 Sportback S-Line 40 TFSI Quattro is a quiet achiever. Not as flashy or as performance-driven as some of its rivals, it still manages to tick almost every box when it comes to comfort and convenience. For a non-performance and top-spec model, the price point is pretty good and it drives beautifully. So that's why it gets the score that's on your screen now. If you're after more details, check out my full review at carsguide.com.au. I'll see you next week.